Hey YouTube, what's up? Thanks for tuning in, and today a special Ciao Italia! Looking forward to meeting you on Saturday in London, Wembley, and already a little bit afraid. My 1 to 12 Willys Jeep arrived today. Finally! I've waited so long for this, and it was already in Europe, arrived in Belgium mid of last week, and waited for days, and today it finally arrived. And I can tell you guys, it's absolutely awesome. If you want to stop this video now and want to know if you should buy it or not, yes, it's expensive, but buy it. It's super cool. In this video, I will only give a short first look to this awesome tiny truck, and then I will make a second video where I will take it apart and show you all the details. I love it, I love it, I love it. Check this out compared to its big brother 1 to 6. Same design, but even more detailed. The small one does have leaf springs, the big one coil springs, and the small one does have better light control and all the details. I really, really, really love it. It's absolutely awesome. Check this out. You can open the hood where the electronics sits inside. Open for canvas. It does have turning steering wheel, what I will show you later, and awesome details everywhere. Check the interior. All the details the big brother in 1 to 6 does have, even the same numbers, but additionally 2-speed, wow, and a light controller, wow, and even more scale. Look, for example, the windshields are more scale. Some people complained about the windshields in the big one, and most important, as I already told you, leaf springs. Unfortunately, my Sarah Connor is a tiny little bit too large, I guess. I had to take off her shoes to make her fit to the tiny truck. But a lot of 1 to 12 figures will fit perfectly, and never drive a Willys Jeep, one of those, without driver figure. That looks that awkward. For example, check the Ford from Walking Dead. If you ask me, that's this figure. Guess fits perfectly. Maybe I will make the joints easier moving and then connect it to the steering wheel, because the steering wheel also does turn in this awesome tiny truck. Would love my Sarah Connor to be a little bit smaller. This would be the perfect Willys Jeep driver, in my opinion. Well, but Abraham Ford, also quite perfect. As the big one, it comes in awesome packing, but the packing of the small one, of the 1 to 12, is even better. It's so cool than the packing of the big one. Comes in a big card box, so protected very well. It's labeled Eachine, and inside the card box there is the box for the Willy, and this is absolutely super cool. It's a kind of transport case for ammunition, a caisson, or whatever. Check this out. You can open it here. And here it sits super secure. Rope. Wow. So FMS, RocHobby or Eachine, I don't know which company finally makes those, or if they are all the same. They really produce awesome stuff. Here it's labeled 1942 Battlefield Taxi. And some military stuff. What's quite strange, 1942, because this comes around this box, and here it's labeled 1941, 1 to 12 Willys MB Eachine. (169mm wheelbase, so only a little bit larger than the 1 to 18th trucks. So it's really quite small, so 1 to 12, but here you have the RocHobby Katana 1 to 18th Toyota Land Cruiser LC80. You see wheelbase is not a big difference between the wheelbase of the Katana and the Willys Jeep 1 to 12, because this Jeep is a tiny truck. What do you get? But packing, not a lot. Branch USB charger and a manual. But this manual is important because this Willys Jeep does come with a new radio, so not the small, tiny, quite nice turbo racing radios we know from the other 1 to 18th and 1 to 24th, and the little bit larger one that came with the 1 to 6th Willys Jeep. No, that's a new radio, and this radio does have a ton of functions, and that's quite complicated, and to use those functions correctly you will probably need the manual. And it does come with a 380 milliamp hours 2S LiPo with this Losi style plug, as all the other 1 to 18th trucks, at least the new ones. The older ones came with 600 milliamp hours, only 5C, so quite weak, but that's okay for such a slow truck. And the new ones, the ECRC and the new LC80 Toyota Land Cruiser 1 to 18th, the licensed one, they do already also come with those 380 milliamp hours LiPo batteries. And I did already drive it, and I can tell you it's an awesome driver and an awesome climber. But first of all, let's switch it on and I show you a little bit what it can do, because it does not have turning lights all the time. If you don't want, you can switch them off, and I will show you how to do this. Here inside sits electronics, battery, 3 servos, 1 shifting servo, 1 servo for the steering wheel, and 1 steering servo. Radio on off is radio on, and the on off switch is here inside. And this radio does come with a lot of functions. There's a kind of beginner mode. You can switch the lights on in different stages. You can switch on off this turning light function, which isn't a turning light anyway, I guess. There are 2 red lights here in front. And you can of course switch gear, second and first gear. And you can drive it in a beginner mode and in an advanced mode. I don't know who will use the beginner mode. And to change all this, that's quite complicated here. There are, hope you can see it. Can you take off this? No. There are two modes, A and B mode here, and depending on which mode you are, those buttons are for different functions. So the throttle trim button in A mode is for throttle trim, and in B mode what you should use, for example, is for the light controller. Let's switch it to B mode, and one button for shifting gears. You can see it here, and it does work really nice, but it even does climb in second gear quite nicely. And can you hear? It's by far not as loud as most of those other 1 to 18th trucks from RocHobby, Hobby Plus and FMS. That's first gear, and now I switch to second gear, and you see it's much faster. Short drive test where I can show you the different speeds. So here you can see it in first and on second gear. And you can also see the steering angle, that's quite bad. So you can't do a lot about the steering angle. You have 3 stages. You can even adjust A, B and C, different steering angles, but that's already the maximum, of course. And you see the wheels do already nearly touch, at least on the left side, the leaf springs, so it won't be much better. That's the only negative thing I found so far. Steering angle could be better, but everything else is awesome. And check this now out. I lost my driver figure. I'm now on mode B, and on mode B the throttle trim plus button is the light switch. So one click, half beam, second click, full beam, third click, including this dark light, fourth click, only dark light, and fifth click, off. And you see now we do not have those turning or whatever lights. And if I give on throttle trim minus one click, now we have this super ugly turning light which will blink all the time when the car is going in circles. But those are not yellow or orange, those are red lights. But you can switch those off, and if you push it a second time, that's a kind of hazard light, so that's quite cool. And once again, and you see no turning lights. Thankfully they thought on this, because I guess no one needs turning lights which blink all the time when you're going some curves in the field. And you see no light at all if the lights are off. And now one click, half beam, red rear lights, really nice, and brake lights. This does not change if you go to full beam, stays the same. So red rear lights and brake lights. quite awesome, quite awesome. I really love it. There's another button, so you have to be in mode 2. That's called train button, and that's for the beginner mode. So you see, now it's fast, and now it's in beginner mode and super slow, and shifting does not work. Don't know who really will need this. And go back. Now we are in gear 1 and I can shift again, gear 2. So for your kids, beginner mode. There are a lot more functions. There's a kind of, it's called crawling, climbing mode, which should give a difference, but this was not so good. I don't know what this really does, because I thought maybe it's drag brake, but no matter if I'm in climbing or not in climbing mode, there's always awesome drag brake. And to check all this, how to adjust, trim, reset the truck, check the manual. The manual is quite awesome. It's in English and it's really quite okay and really very detailed. And this transmitter is a little bit complicated, so probably nobody could use it with all its functions without reading the manual. And here you have exploded view of the new receiver, light controller, ESC unit, and totally detailed view, exploded view of the chassis and axles. So wow, nice manual, and it's absolutely needed. What else to say? I will disassemble it and then make a second video, but nice rubber tires and plastic rims. You can take those caps off, but those again are a real beadlock wheels. Super nice. I did already disassemble them. But here you see the screws. So nice plastic beadlock wheels, really nice tires. Labeling all service made in USA. So China tires made in USA, quite cool. And tomorrow I will take a closer look to this. And to the shifting mechanism and to the moving steering wheel. Nice scale caps. Did I show you the moving steering wheel? You can see. Did I show you the moving steering wheel? You can see it here. And probably Sarah Connor will not stay in here because she's a little bit too large, and Ford will get easily moving arms and then steer with its truck. And it's an awesome climber. It's really an awesome climber. I was totally surprised in my first test drives. And this ESC does have really nice low speed control. That's quite awesome compared to all those other 1 to 18th, 1 to 24th trucks. So check this out. Not super loud. And really nicely controllable. And it can climb super steep inclines. It does really climb steep inclines and does additionally have an awesome drag brake. So it will not be a rock crawler, of course, that's a Willys Jeep, but check those videos. I tested it on 48 in the beginning, no problem at all. Even in second gear, and then I tested it in 51 degrees and 52.5 degrees, no problem at all. Yes, it can climb even steeper inclines, of course, but I don't want it to fall because, yeah, of course you can move the windshield, but this stuff could break, as all of you know. But it's an awesome climber and nobody thought this, and drag brake is fantastic. Check this out. Drag brake holds it, and we are on whatever angle. This is 55. That's 55.6 degree. Will it? Wow, nearly 56 degrees, and there is about the maximum, then it will fall. Wow, and drag brake holds it. Unbelievable. What an awesome little climber. What a fantastic little car. Wow, wow, wow. It's absolutely fantastic. I love it. If I have to find some negatives, steering angle, price, maybe. But I guess it's worth every penny. And I guess those electronics will also come in this new 1 to 12 Suzuki Jimmy by FMS, RocHobby, whatever, whoever made it, which probably will also be awesome. But this guy is fantastic. As Sarah Connor is. And in a C model, you should always switch on radio first, then model, and switch off model first, and then radio. And the 1 to 12 Willys knows this. So now it's on, and if you switch off radio first, check this out. How cool is this? It will warn you. Super cool! The next video will be up soon with a disassembled 1 to 12 Willys Jeep. Check the gearing, how all this is made. Check the 2-speed mechanism, check the servos, check the inside. Today only short look at the outside, and it's absolutely awesome. Thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you in the next video. And the protector of this lady says, I'll be back.